Hey everybody, Patrick from Crash Games here, and I'm just going to give this a whirl. This is the first of hopefully many installments of my Crash Games vlog. I was just up in Seattle a couple weeks back for PAX Prime, had an awesome time. Wow, that was such a cool show, and got to meet up with some great friends, and they recommended that I do something like a blog. And I'm like, well, my time is so crazy packed these days, and I'm very insightful and thoughtful with my writing. So I thought that a vlog would be a bit easier because everybody has time for a quick conversation, and then I can keep everybody caught up on all the goings-ons of Crash Games, and no one has to be out of the loop. So I'm recording this directly off YouTube. I don't know what the camera quality is like. Hopefully pretty good. I gave it a brief test and it looked to be okay for what I needed it for. So hopefully this works. Lots of head movement going to be happening. Apparently I'm gonna get my groove on this morning. But we'll give it a shot. And if you guys like it, don't like it, leave comments and we'll figure out how to make it better. So lots of stuff going on. Now, what do I hope to achieve by doing this vlog? Basically, just share with you all the neat stuff about being an independent publisher. Um, Sometimes I'm at home and I'll mention something and my wife will go, well, "You never told me about that." I'm like, "Dang, I forgot to tell you about that." Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? So I don't want you guys to feel that way. I certainly don't want my wife to feel that way. So I thought this would be a good shot for you guys to all stay in the loop. So where are we at? Well, right now it's been an interesting last couple weeks for Crash Games. Like I said, it was our first PAX this past couple weeks in Seattle, and I thought that went really, really well. I did a small section of a booth inside the Greater Than Games booth. The fine gentlemen that make Sentinels of the Multiverse, Sentinels Tactics, and a bunch of other stuff like Galactic Strike Force, and it was a great, great time. Love those guys. And I was curious to see what the board game market would be like. I had never been to any of the other PAXs. I've heard that PAX East is the most I guess has the biggest presence as far as board games. I've heard they have a lot more space. I can definitely see why the space was an issue at PAX Prime, but I thought it was a really cool convention. Lots of nooks and crannies, and just that city of Seattle. Wow, I didn't want to leave. I drove up to Vancouver, met with the guys from Panda again. We get together pretty regularly, and not up in Canada ever. So that was a fun little day trip. Totally didn't get to see Vancouver hardly at all. But it was a good time seeing Michael and Richard Lee at Panda Games, and got to meet Suze and Maggiebot from Twitter. That was always fun, and a couple other backers, Matt Tillbaum, and a couple other really cool people, and that was a great time. And oh my gosh, Card Kingdom in Seattle, best board game store I've ever been to. They have an attached restaurant. I think it was called Mox, and oh, best peanut butter and jelly I've ever had in my life. The peanut butter, the preserves were all homemade, and the bread was locally baked. I got a strawberry preserve. Oh man, wow! Not to mention their applesauce. Oh, if you're a foodie at all, you need to make a stop at that cafe, and you need to get the PB&J and that applesauce. You won't be disappointed. I would say if you're within 2 hours, it's worth the trip. So I would drive much further, but that's just me. So yeah, that was PAX Prime. We took Council of Verona there, sold out of that, and just had a great time all in all. I'm a big video gamer as well, so it was amazing. Kelly from Telltale Games, thank you, bud, for the free T-shirts. Got to play the new Borderlands Telltale game. Wow. I didn't get to play much. I got to play some Shovel Knight. Those guys are great. Got to see the awesome guys, Rooster Teeth. I'm a big fan, and my nephew's a big fan of their videos. And so, from a fan perspective, wow, PAX was amazing. Got to meet up with some other friends, Mike Mullins from San Diego. Not Mullins, good grief, Cummins. Oh wow, brain is not firing. Mullins lives on the East Coast. Also a good guy, also a friend, but he is not Mike Cummins. So Mike is a naval officer that I met at GamerCon / San Diego Comic Con this past summer. Cool guy. We had this epic night. That's Not just him and I. It was an entourage of people. What happens at Comic-Con stays at Comic-Con. No, that's not what happened. So, and my screen just went out. That was fun. I guess we'll have to occasionally use or tap the mouse to make that not go on. So, anyways, rambling. PAX Prime, great if you're a video gamer at all. There was tons of stuff that I wanted to play there that I didn't get to, like PlayStation's 1883 or 1886 The Order, that was there. They had Super Smash Brothers there. Nintendo did, and tons of other stuff. They had the Borderlands prequel game. I am a huge Borderlands fan, a nut for Borderlands. Fallout is my favorite video game, and then Borderlands is right after. So it was cool seeing that stuff. The Geek Chic people were there. Always great seeing them. Can't wait for my merchant tables for the Crash Games booth to be done. Ordered those at Origins. And I actually got to tour their factory. Thanks to Kip and all the people in the R&D department, I actually had a really neat chance to go by there and influence the future of the merchant table, since it's a fairly new table that they're making. And got a tour of the factory, and wow, those are hardworking guys, and I'm absolutely happy to be able to support them. It's always neat, getting to look kind of behind the curtain, because people and companies project a certain image, and then it's neat to go in there and see what the day-to-day and average stuff is. So very, very happy to be supporting them, and very excited to get those tables. So that was pretty much PAX. I stuck around for 4 days after. It's when I went up to Vancouver, and just kind of went around and did some stuff. So, and it was weird because they did the show out through that Monday on Labor Day. So I was planning on having 3 extra days when I only actually had two extra days. So I wanted to make it out to the San Juan Islands and do a little bit of writing, because it's just gorgeous up there. And unfortunately, that had to be scrapped because I had other social commitments to meet up with people. So maybe next year. So that was PAX Prime. So where are we at right now? Well, it was a very interesting Thursday and Friday when I finally got the updated timeline from Panda on Paydirt, Yardmaster, and Yardmaster Express. And I've been busting my butt all year to try to hit all my deadlines that I needed to hit. And the fact of the matter is that there was a portion of it that was in my control, and there was a larger portion of it that was out of my control. And I don't say that to circumvent responsibility. At the end of the day, it is 100% my control. Well, not my control. It's 100% my responsibility, I should say. And so I had to go back on a promise that I made on Kickstarter, and the majority of people were extremely understanding because I always am honest, and that's the great part about being honest, is that you never trip yourself up because you're just telling the truth. And so I had the unfortunate circumstance of having to sell at Essen before shipping to my backers, and that absolutely breaks my heart. I hate going back on my word. And so moving forward, I don't feel I'm going to be able to make that promise anymore, because I don't want to be in a situation like this again where, I've already spent thousands of dollars to attend Essen, and to not be able to have my newest stuff there is a huge financial detriment. The buzz for Yardmaster, Yardmaster Express, and Paydirt is huge, and a lot of people wanted it at Essen. And I don't like the concept or the idea of, let me make these customers happy and let these ones down. But if I want to grow as a company, I gotta be able to sell stuff. That's the simple fact of the matter. A lot of people don't realize that Kickstarter pays for a portion of the print run of games, but ever since Council of Verona, I have printed extra to put wider print runs into distribution that I pay for out of pocket, out of my sales and out of my personal finances, in hopes of having bigger sales, in hopes of growing as a company, being able to hire my first employee, which I need to do but can't afford to do yet, and to continue to bring you guys great games. And so these decisions are all intermingled and connected, and it was an unfortunate circumstance of, there's no good decision here. It's a lose-lose for me. I'm going to let somebody down. Either I'm going to let myself down and hurt the company, or I'm going to let my backers down. And I received overwhelming support that the backers understood that it was the right decision. There were a very vocal minority that were very upset and I understand why they're upset, and I'm not going to fault them, and they're always free to express themselves, and I'm here to listen, and I'm here to respond when it's appropriate to respond. If they just want to vent, go for it. But I want to make sure they understand there's no shenanigans here. Some pretty wild accusations were made. A couple of the people, like one of the people made a comment that was equating me breaking my promise to backers to marriage infidelity, and I felt that was extremely inappropriate. As a married person that's been married 5 years, my commitment to my wife is the most important commitment I have in life, and not sending someone a game 6 weeks earlier and cheating on my wife, that's about where I drew the line of I'm not participating in this conversation anymore. So I guess that's the glory of the internet. And I love every one of my customers, even the ones that don't love me back. I think especially the ones that don't love me back, because I think that is the character of a company, is how do you treat the people that aren't your huge fans? How do you treat the people that don't like you and that express themselves that way? And so I want to treat them just as well. There's no bias there. So that was last week. I haven't been on the last couple days because I've been playing Destiny on PlayStation. Oh my gosh, we'll get into that in a minute. So Essen is coming up, and we'll have a limited number of copies of the games at Essen. And that's if they show up, right? It's so out of my hands. Like, I may have made a lot of people angry, or a minority of people angry, and they might not even show up, right? Because I was only able to get 100 copies of Pay Dirt. Those made the very last boat, and 100 was all that Panda was able to get off the line before the boat was leaving, because if I had to airship Pay Dirt in, I wouldn't have been able to have Pay Dirt there. There's only 4 copies to a case. It's almost $100 or just about $100 per case to airship, and so that would have meant if I was selling the game at about 35 euros, which is about $50, that would have meant I was selling the games at half price, and there's like no profit to be had there. So Pay Dirt made the last boat, but only 100 copies. Yardmaster and Yardmaster Express, I'm going to get 300 copies of each, and those are being airshipped, and that's a total of $2,100 in air shipping for those 600 copies. Thankfully, Yardmaster and Yardmaster Express are a lot more units to the case. But the cases are, slightly heavier because there's more games. It's so complicated. And then I sent over, some cases of Council of Verona, Paradise Fallen, and Rise. I think 7 cases from my warehouse here in Arizona. Sent those via FedEx, and that was $1,000. So, I was already, I want to say $5 grand. In booth costs and airfare, so I have to have the best opportunity I can to break even and hopefully make a profit to be able to, keep things going. And so I'm super excited about Essen. A buddy of mine that lives in San Francisco that's actually responsible for getting me into the gaming hobby, Gordon Wohlers, he'll be helping me out in my booth. And so we'll be there. I'm still looking for a couple volunteers. I have 2 more exhibitor badges. If people want to volunteer and put in some time, we can work out all the details. You can email me, patrick@crashgamesaz.com, or you can always use the contact page on our website, crashgamesaz.com, and click contact. So I'm looking for 2 more people and haven't had any takers yet. So always excited for Essen. I love seeing my people there. I had a great time last year. Robin Lees off of Twitter, Michael Fox from the Little Metal Dog Show, and his beautiful bride, Steph. I love getting together with them. That was a terrible Michael Fox impression. I love that guy's voice. I could listen to him read a menu from Denny's. Yeah, I like accents. Funny little side story. My wife's dad is from England, and she had a British accent. I always used to joke when I was younger, the weird list of stuff that you make when you're like, oh, my future spouse, or I want to marry somebody that has an accent, and British accent was at the top of the list. Funny thing is, she grew up in rural Cave Creek, Arizona. It was rural at that time. They thought she had a speech impediment, and they did speech therapy and took away her accent. Thanks a lot, school system. Yeah. So, anyways, looking forward to seeing Michael Fox. And get used to that. You will get all kinds of rabbit trails. I will go down a rabbit hole. I will not even be able to find my way back to what I was talking about. So hopefully you like that kind of thing. Yeah. So Essen. Rory O'Connor, I love seeing him. Got to see him last year of Rory Story Cubes, him and his helper, employee slash buddy, Pedro. Phenomenal people. And I just met so many cool people. Ulf, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Peterson, off Twitter as well. And we stay at this great little hotel. It's super affordable, right there by the train. And man, the strawberry yogurt there. Definitely looking forward to that. I mean, and anybody that puts out salami for breakfast, you should definitely stay there. Salami for breakfast. Wow. Mind blown. So looking forward to that. And before that, next week I'll actually be shoving off for Grand Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Looking forward to that. Never been to that show, so we'll be interested to see how that goes and shakes out. Brian and Mark, the guys behind Grand Con, great guys, so looking forward to checking that out. And then looking forward to seeing my friends and designers of the assassination of Jack Malone, Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle. I thought they said they were going to be there for at least one of the days. What posers? I mean, they live right there in the same area, and they better be there, or else. Or else. So yeah, we're gonna let that game be published next 2016. No, I'm just kidding. Assassination of Jack Malone is actually in the next crop of 3 games coming up, which leads me to believe what is coming up next for us. So my timeline has been completely destroyed. I had planned on publishing 4 more games this year. I knew it was a bold goal. But I never want to rush something to market that's not ready. But the very next thing is Dead Drop, designed by Jason Kotarski. He is the guy behind Great Heartland Hauling, which was published by Dice Hate Me Games. And he also recently co-designed Fidelitas with Philip DeBerry that Jason actually self-published, so kudos to him. And I know how much work that is, and I'm sure he's learning too. And the really neat thing about Dead Drop, we've been playing it. We played a bunch of times at Origins, and it's been played, signed it at Unpub 2014. So this past, I think it was February of this year. Wow. I mean, that seems like a long time ago, and it was only 7 months ago. So Dead Drop is coming up, and we're going a really interesting direction with Dead Drop. I've got, I think, like 8 artists, including the famed Adam McIver, the artist of Council of Verona, designer of Coinage, and designer of the upcoming Crash Games game, Kingdom Land, which I was hoping to squeeze in December this year, but it's looking like it's going to be bumped to the first quarter of next year. It is a big old game, fantastic, and wow, Kingdom Land is going to be great. I'm super excited for that. And that's like the hardest part about being in this industry is I have signed, I want to say I have 5 games slated for next year, and then the 3 that were slated for this year. So I think I'm chock full for next year. And that's the hard part, is focusing on the current one and then not being distracted or ADD, which I already am, with the other ones that are upcoming. So look for Dead Drop. I want to hit it on October 1st. I might have to push it back a little bit more. I realize that I'm going to be in Essen for those 2 weeks, so I have to figure out how I'm able to monitor a Kickstarter campaign when I'm out of the country for 2 weeks, and that may pose an interesting challenge. I think I have a pretty cool solution, so I still look for Dead Drop on October 1st. I may just do it for 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll have to look and see what's going on there, but some great artists doing some different themed decks for Dead Drop, because Dead Drop is extremely minimal as far as components go. It's 13 cards, 4 player aid cards, and then if you want to play multiple games, some tokens to track your score. So I thought one of the interesting ways to enhance the game and give backers extras, because I'm always trying to look for extra content to create for my backers, is that different artists, so different themed decks. So we have a Goblin deck coming, we have a Spy deck, a Pirate deck, a Viking deck. One of the ones I'm most excited about is kind of a Calvin and Hobbes-esque, like kid-style deck by Quanchai, and he is a phenomenal artist. Looking forward to having his deck in there, and just a bunch of other different decks. So that'll be really neat. And something that I always try to communicate about Crash Games Kickstarters that I don't know if it comes across as well as it could is that anytime you back a game by Crash Games on Kickstarter, you are getting it at a discounted price. The only exception for that was Paydirt, because that was such an expensive game to make, I couldn't discount it. And in the future, I think I'll go ahead and eat that cost just so that I can continue the reasons why you want to back a game from Kickstarter from Crash Games. So the number one is the discounted price. The number two is free shipping. The number three is you're going to get all the stretch rewards included for free. So those are the three reasons why. It's always the best deal from Crash Games. The second best deal if you miss out on the Kickstarter is pre-order, and then you can always get it at retail. I'll never make something not available after the Kickstarter campaign, or rather, I'll never make something that you can't get. You could always buy the promos through the BGG store or get them from me through conventions. There's never something that's going to flat out be not available, with the exception of like hard to produce stuff. So like the wooden tokens for Yardmaster, I was only able to make a certain number of those. I should have a couple left over. Not a couple. I should have a small limited amount left over. But I tend to save those for conventions and stuff because it's just easier to get rid of them that way. And it makes the people that make the expensive trek out to conventions expensive. And then if I do have enough stock left over, I could put a limited supply into the Board Game Geek store. So always, that's just how I plan on shaking things out. So if you didn't know that, now you know. And knowing is half the battle, I was told, growing up from G.I. Joe. So that's what's coming up. I don't want this to ramble on forever, so just like to one more bit of what I've been playing and what I've been enjoying. I've been playing Blueprints a lot more lately. I picked that up at SN last year at the show by Z-Man Games, and there's so many games that I play once, and just because there's so much more coming in, things don't hit the table a second time unless they completely amaze me. I misunderstood some rules in Blueprints, but now I've got them squared, and I've been playing it again, and wow, really enjoy the approachability of that little dice game. I also played Discount Salmon recently, and I love the graphic design on that. I love the concept of the Cards Against Humanity tabletop deathmatch. The theme in Discount Salmon really got me. The gameplay did not. Unfortunately, it is a glorified slapjack, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have any problems with easier to play games, but it just fell flat. And so I'll probably be passing that on to some lucky recipient. But great job on the design, great job on the theme, and I guess if the gameplay had just been enhanced a bit more, they could have had a pretty good game there. Also been playing Cockroach Poker a lot lately. This is a game that I got introduced to earlier this year, when I was fortunate enough to be hanging out at Ted Alspach's house. I love Ted and Tony, the team behind Bezier Games, makers of Suburbia and One Night Werewolf. Had a game night at their house with my buddy Gordon and I, just the four of us, and Ted introduced me to Cockroach Poker. I've never been able to find it, and while I was up at Card Kingdom, Maggie, stocking great games, there was 2 copies. I bought them both because I know that someone else will want it, and I knew that David Short would probably want it, so I picked up an extra copy on spec at $12. Why not? So been playing that. I also bought Longhorn by Blue Orange, but I haven't had a chance to hit it at the table. Mad thanks to Dan with Game Board Geek. I always get his thing mixed up, but Dan with Game Boy Geek. I think it's Game Boy Geek. It's on the Dice Tower Network. Thanks for your video. That's how I learned how to play it. Looks like a fun little interesting game. Really want to get to the table, and hope to get to the table this week before I shove off for Michigan on Wednesday. And then also, I mean, I am always playing Clash of Clans on my iPad. I am a absolute nutball for Hearthstone. I'm always playing Hearthstone, trying to finish off the last part of the solo knack swing. And, well, this weekend was monopolized by Destiny. From Bungie and Activision came out. Destiny, the first-person shooter, which is not my favorite genre, yet my favorite 2 games are first-person shooters. That's kind of like me saying I don't really like soup, and then I keep eating soups. So, I guess first-person shooter is a popular genre. But I love the world that they've created for Destiny, and I love all the customizations you can make, and you're getting different guns, you're leveling up, the different classes. I'm currently playing two different characters. I'm playing a solo game by myself as a warlock, and then my nephew uh, and I have been playing a game together with we were playing with Aaron from Boards Alive, and I've invited a couple other people off Twitter to join us. I'm playing with the Hunter class. So it's interesting playing those two. So I guess the Titan is the only class I haven't played. And I like the Hunter. I like the Warlock. And I really like the game. Oh my gosh, I put in some time on Destiny this weekend and got my Hunter leveled up to 9 and my Warlock is at 6. So, um, I'm really bummed that they didn't cross over. I'm really bummed that they didn't cross over the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. I get why they didn't do it, the graphical changes, but I was really bummed to have to buy a PlayStation 4 copy of the game and a PlayStation 3 copy of the game just so that I could play with my nephew, who's my primary gaming partner. And oh well, I guess I'm going to help support a great game even more, but it was a little hit to the pocketbook to buy the game twice. And then I have a bunch of friends playing on Xbox, so they're probably going to get me to buy that a third time. And wow, if a company has a game that's good enough to make me buy it 3 times, you're doing something right. So keep up the great work, Bungie and Activision. Great job on Destiny. I wish I was home right now playing it, but I have to work. I have responsibilities. So cool. Well, that's about it, and I'm coming into the 26-minute mark, and that's kind of where I wanted it to be. I wanted to keep it 15, 20 minutes, and I rambled. So leave some comments. Let me know what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to hear about, because that's the great part. I can tell you whatever you want. I love being transparent with Crash Games. If you have questions, I could do a couple viewer questions, and we'll see how this goes. Hopefully this recorded. If not, I can be silly again for 26 minutes. So thanks all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see those subscriptions go up. And please share this video to people that you think might be interested. And hopefully I'll be trying to do this once a week. I don't know that I'll always have a ton of content. It might be quicker videos, and then that's when we can kind of talk about different aspects of the business, different things that I do. And yeah, if you'd like to hear about any of that stuff too, let me know. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great week, everybody.